we're going to be ranking all the Fionna and Cake episodes. Why? Because I want to, and I have to keep this content train going. Some people are going to get mad at my decisions and my choices, but it's fine. It's fine. At number 10, because there's 10 episodes at number 10, is episode 9, Casper and Nova. I watched all these episodes just to I watched all these episodes last night to try to, remind myself, the content, and so I didn't miss anything. And honestly, this is the only episode that didn't feel like it was a full episode. Obviously, it is the setup for the next episode, but that's all it feels like. Obviously, there's stuff I like Fionna reacting to changes that have happened in her world and how she appreciates her world. I also like seeing Hunter and how he was more part of the plot, and I loved the ending. The ending was great. I also love the opening nightmare scene with everyone, the world being kinda magical. It's like magic plastered onto their existing world. But everything else it felt incomplete. It felt, obviously, again, it is incomplete, and you can say, oh, that's the point, but I don't know, I've seen, the part ones of finales not feel as incomplete as Casper and Nova does. It doesn't hit the mark like the other episodes, and, I mean, that's fine. It's set up, but it's going at the bottom of my list. At number 9, we have Cake the Cat. I think this is gonna be the least surprising one on this list. Actually, there's a few upper that may not be surprising. But genuinely, this felt like a weaker episode compared to the other 8 that we haven't talked about. Compared to everyone else except for episode 9, it really didn't feel like it had its own identity. It had a bit more of an identity than episode 9 had, but it still kind of felt like the middle child in the first 4 episodes. I liked all of Cake's interactions though. They were really fun, and I enjoyed her interactions with the squirrel, and I enjoyed all the characters that showed up. I enjoyed Fionna as well. I enjoyed Marshall and being like, that does sound insane. You might be going fucking crazy. Please go to a therapist. Ellis had a small part. I liked him. I also liked Gary's. They never went into if he's living in the bakery or not, because he seems like he's bringing groceries to the bakery. I don't know. Feels weird that they never got into it, but I enjoyed it. It just felt like the middle child. And honestly, if there had to be an episode that transitioned from one to another, I'm fine with it being that one. Number 8. Some of y'all are going to be mad at me for this one, but I'm putting episode 7, The Star, at number 8. I know some of you are typing in those comments because of all the bubbling moments. I'm sorry, but this episode did not stand out as it didn't stand out as much as the other episodes that we haven't talked about, because genuinely, I like this episode and I like all the bubbling moments, but they don't carry the episode enough for me to put it higher. I liked the whole world and how you could see that Simon's impact on Marcy really did have a worldwide impact. And I liked all the interactions between the characters. I like seeing Martin and Huntress Wizard and their other versions. I like to see PB, and I also loved how this was the start of Cake's whole arc. Because by this point in the series, Cake really didn't have anything going on, so giving her something starting on this episode, and I think they handle it very well from this episode to the next, but it just does not stand out to me more than the other episodes higher on this list. This is a good episode, and the rest of them are great to amazing to perfect. This one is just good. I like the world and I like the characters. It just didn't have enough for me to put it any higher. I love the ending scene though, with the transition between Fiona's world and the vampire world and the two couples, and that was great. And honestly, I don't see people talk about the detail of how toxic Yuri is falling down, where healthy Yaoi is going up the stairs, and I think that's a really good I think that's a really nice contrast. I love that end scene, and I love all the scenes. I don't think I talked about that episode. I don't think I ever got to part 3 of my Bubbling / Gary X Marshall mini series on my channel, but I like their scenes a lot, but I liked other episodes more. I'm sorry. I know you were gonna flame me in the comments. Please understand. I have made enough videos on this channel where hopefully you can see that I am a shipper of the Baker and the Rocker. But it just doesn't carry it higher than number 8. I'm sorry, honestly, this being at number 8, it just shows that the series is so good. It's so good. At number 7, we have Prismo the Wishmaster. Now, honestly, this is just here because the other episodes are better. Like the last one on the list, this is just here because the others are better. For potential viewers who hadn't watched the original series and don't know the lore, I think this is a really good introduction to both Prismo and like the cosmic world of things, and how it works, and how wishes work, and how the multiverse works, and explaining Simon's whole story. I think this is a really good episode for those who haven't watched the original series. I think by watching this episode, you could watch this series without watching the OG. It's just a good episode. It shows the world, but not only that, it shows us more of the world to people who did watch the original series. It shows us like more of the time cube, and I think the main detail is definitely one, that Prismo created Fionna and Cake, but also those two like figures that are beating against each other that create like the time stream and whatever. And I think that's a cool concept for how the time works in the Adventure Time universe. I liked it. It's a good episode. It is a good, I would even say great episode, but the others are better. At at number 6, we have episode 1, Fionna Campbell. Fionna Campbell. I think this is a really good introduction to just the entire show. Of course, we don't have any of the Simon stuff, but I think because most of the characters, even the alternate versions, you can infer their characters from the Fionna world versions. You can infer the different versions of Marceline from Marshall. You can infer the different versions of PB from Gary. But this is also a good introduction to these characters as they are in the human setting, because we have never seen that. And they are different from their like magical world counterpart. They have similarities, and we see traits from the magical world counterparts in these human versions, but they aren't exactly, and I really like that. I like how we get in this one episode basically the introduction to most characters in this series. And I especially liked how the differences between Fionna and Finn already, because you can already see how it's the nature part of nature versus nurture. basically. You can see how Finn in the magical world was always like stimulated with new things, and so he is happy as he can be. He has a lot of trauma, but that's not what we're gonna talk about. But he's always stimulated with things to do, versus Fionna, who wants a more magical world because she lives in a world like ours, where it's not magical, and you don't have things to do all the time. You have responsibilities. Of course, Finn had responsibilities, but not as much as Fionna. But I just liked how you could see how this world affected these characters and who they are in this world, even just with this one episode. This episode does a really good job of showing us a bunch of characters and none of them really feeling overshadowed by anybody else. I also like the flow of it, where it's Fionna kind of, you see Fionna and she goes to a place, and then it shows us the characters, and it jumps back to Fionna, and then it shows us the characters, goes back to Fionna, and I think that's a really nice flow for the episode. I just think this is a really good episode, a really solid episode. I don't really have any complaints about it. We're on to the top 5 episodes out of this entire series, and at number 5 we have Destiny. I think this is the first amazing episode. The episode that I would call amazing. Just cause they, like Fionna Campbell, they fit a lot into this episode. And I feel like it's a lot more than the other other alternate universe episodes. In the other worlds, they don't really have this, like, I guess, not mythology, but, like, the world seems to have more lore and more content in it that makes it so different. And obviously you're gonna get more of what's going on if you watch the original series, but you don't necessarily have to understand this episode. The thing that I want to focus on is the fact that Finn with the crown is called the Snowman, which I think is so interesting and adds on to what we already knew about this world, where Finn got the crown. But now we know how other people reacted to Finn having this crown and freezing people, and I really enjoyed that aspect. I also like the whole aesthetic, and you kind of see bits and pieces on how this world structures and is structured and how it works. And I really enjoy that. They fit a lot of content into this one episode. Like the other ones, like some of the other ones down below, this is only here because the other ones are better. Another detail that I really like about this episode is it shows how, like, inexperienced Cake is with her powers. Cause later on she gets better. But you can see in this episode how, like, lumpy her stretchiness is. That sounds weird to say. That's like saying my lumpy creamy peanut butter, but like when there's that one scene where she punches and instead of being this like nice smooth hand, it's got all these lumps and stuff, and I think that's indicative of her character. And it's a small scene, but it shows her character. There's a lot of these like small scenes that add on to the characters and add on to the world. Obviously, we gotta talk about Jay and Little Destiny and how their whole romance was fit into this one episode and how well it was done. They had like 2 scenes, but it doesn't feel like they were really rushed. I would like to see more of them, and of course, we see more of them in the finale. I also like Finn's whole character. He's daddy. He is daddy. God damn. God damn. But besides that, I like how we even got this like extension to Farm World. Farm World is not a big thing within, like, it isn't like a massive thing within the Adventure Time story, and I like that time was given to explore this version of Finn and this world. Finn's just great throughout this entire thing. He's a good father. Him being so protective over his kids. Daddy material. Goddamn. Just look at him. God damn. I think out of all the Finns, I think he's my favorite. I think well, beside Fionna, but out of all the actual Finns that we see, I think he's gotta be my favorite. Cause love him and his character. We should move on. I can't stop. I can't sim. I just realized that this is the only time that we truly see the Scarab going after the main group. Damn, he really didn't have a lot of time to shine. God damn, like he's only able to use his like adaptation powers because he adapts to Farm World. Like, we only see that once. I don't even think that's his canon human design, and yet people are just using that, which, understandable, that's the only human design we get. But yeah, I wish we got more of him. Honestly, I hope we get a season 2 just so we get more of the Scarab, because I would like to see more of him in action and stuff. In 4th place is Simon Petrikov, episode 2. This out of the first 2 episodes introducing our like main characters, this is the much better one. I really enjoyed this episode. I don't think I have a lot to say about this episode like I do Destiny, but this episode is really good, and I especially like, as bad as this will sound, how against the world is against Simon. Like, everything seems to be against him. The people, the world itself. He is like constantly getting beaten down. I think we can all understand just from this episode why he wants to put on the crown and why he wants to become Ice King, because this world is beating him down. I don't blame him for wanting an out, because he's in a literal exhibit. He is the exhibit, and you understand Simon and his goals and his ambitions just from this episode alone. I also enjoyed Finn in this episode, and honestly, I see people wanting Finn to have like a series of his own, to have an arc. I don't think he can, because he is not that much different in Together Again, the Distant Land special. He is not that different from this version. Like, I don't think he ever grew from Jake dying. Like, I think he always, like, thought, like, it always weighed him down. I really enjoyed this episode and how it dissected Simon's character for people who did watch the series, but also didn't watch the series. If you can't tell, I really enjoyed how the series was both a good watch for people who did watch the original series and people who didn't. Like I said, I don't think I have as much to say. We already knew Ooh. There's more to Ooh. I like seeing the human city. That whole city is just fashion city. Do you see some of the looks? Have you seen them? They are fashion city. That we need human city drag RuPaul Drag Race. I said that perfectly. I just really like this episode, and it's a really good episode to introduce Simon to all viewers, no matter if you watch the OG series or not. Because believe it or not, we didn't really know Simon. I mean, we did know Simon, but all we really knew about him was his smarts. It's just, we didn't know a lot about him personally, and I like that we get more of him. Of course, we get him through the entire series, but I really enjoy how they introduce him and what he does in this episode. It's really good. Number 3, 3rd place. I know some of you are gonna get mad because some of you did not like the finale, but I'm putting Cheers here. Here's the thing. If Casper and Nova is the last, it's the last to give way for this episode. I enjoy a lot about this episode. I didn't talk about this with Casper and Nova, but I throughout this entire finale, I really enjoyed Simon's whole arc. It is basically perfect. I know people have other opinions, but it is basically perfect. I also really enjoyed seeing Shermie and Beth. I know this is kind of episode 9. I'm gonna, like, to be frank, the whole finale as a whole would go here. Like, if I'm ranking both of them together, it would probably go to this spot right here. But I really enjoyed Shermie and Beth in this whole thing and their whole characters. I want to see more of them, but if this is the last time we ever see, like, the Adventure Time world, I'm really happy that they brought back characters like Shermie and Beth. I also really like Simon's whole realization and how Beth was like, I know you're a child, you don't understand this. Like, oh, that hurt me. Because he has no emotional intelligence. He is intelligent, but not with emotions. And I think that's very interesting. Because like I said, we didn't really know Simon to this point. We knew that he was smart, and we know he was an antiquarian. We really learn throughout the series what kind of person he was. He wasn't a malicious. He's someone who, in a way, only knew himself. He's someone who didn't really understand other people. And I really enjoy that, like, dissection of his character and the whole dissection of Simon and Betty's relationship. Because their relationship now is so much more interesting than it was in the original series. Because obviously, we already had the inclinations that there was some codependency, but I don't think we ever knew that there was also a power imbalance, which makes the whole relationship so much more interesting. Oh, I didn't talk about this with Casper Nova. I like the Lich. I know people are saying, oh, he's such a simp. I like the Lich. In this finale, I like the Lich. I know people are gonna get mad at me. I like the Lich. I don't think he's a simp. I think he's just a devoted follower. He had a short amount of time. We'll talk about the Lich more later. But in this finale, I liked his part in this finale. Besides Simon, I loved seeing Fionna come to terms that she does like her world, that there are things that she can like about it, and that basically it's a saying of you don't know that you like something until it's gone, and that world was gonna be gone. And I forget who, but it was someone saying that, like, it feels like she was forced to like her world, like she gun to her head. I kind of agree, but, like, not entirely. I think there is a part where she had to realize that she did like this world and she appreciated it. I don't think it's a perfect finale. I think that the Fionna stuff could be better. I just really enjoyed this episode, and I also like how this is basically the culmination of Cake's whole arc of not being able to stretch, and then by this point she's stretching beyond her abilities. I enjoyed Cake. I know some people got mad at Cake throughout this entire series. I enjoy Cake. This episode is amazing. I know some people didn't like the finale. I had some more problems until I went back and watched it again, and I really enjoyed the episode and everyone completing their arcs and stuff. It was a really good finale for this series. If they never come back with another season, that's fine, because this is a worthy ending. I know some people are gonna say, but Jay and Destiny, it could work. It's a little bit of, if they never get back to this, it does leave off on a little sour note. It's like you're leaving possibly your dad and your siblings for working toilets, which, goddamn, I mean, fair, but also a little bit of maybe you should not stay here. Maybe you should contact Prismo, send you back to your own world. Baby Finn, though, Baby Finn is safe. We are happy that Baby Finn is safe. I don't think this is going to be a surprise to anybody. But number 2 is episode 6, The Winter King. We all know it's amazing. Do I even have to go into why this is amazing? We all know this episode is fantastic. I love the world. I love the characters. I like the differences. I enjoy how this, like, we get this perception of the Winter King, and then it is completely ripped away by the end, and I really enjoy that. I enjoy all the interactions between the characters. I enjoy the songs, both of them are bangers. The Winter King, back to him, he's just an amazing character. He's a very entertaining character. He hits all the notes that I need from a character like him. He's funny. He's interesting. I want more of this world. What's up with Marceline? What's up with Betty? Are Finn and Jake alive? This entire world needs a spin-off, honestly. The aesthetic of this world just speaks to me. It's so interesting seeing this swap between the Ice King and PB. It's so interesting. This has probably already fueled a lot of fanfics. I already read a fanfic. We all know the iconic kiss each other line. That it's super funny. I just really enjoyed this episode. This episode is great. It's all great. Oh yeah, no, I also liked Fiona's whole character and this being the world where she finally understands, oh yeah, no, these are real places. This is not just a video game. Oh my god. I've been hurting real people. I enjoy just all the consequences that come with this world. It's so real. This world feels so real. This is a magical world, and yet it feels more real than a lot of other places in this series. Just because of the consequences that come from this world to Fionna. Just the atmosphere, the characters, the songs. I could repeat myself over and over again. Just a note, like how the candy people look, great. Oh yeah, no, the couple stuff. I forgot. How could I forget? The stuff with Marshall and Gary and how they literally were just like, they met in this episode, and it's so cute seeing their relationships go through. I made a video on this episode. It's so good. It's so good. If you want more focus on the relationship, go watch that video. I'll link it in the comments. But this episode in general is so good. I love it so much. I really do. And this is number 2, so I think you know what episode number 1 is. But like, it's not, as much as I love this episode, I can't put it at number 1, because number 1, Jerry, is near perfect. It's a near perfect episode. I'm not even saying near. It is a perfect episode. Jerry is such a good episode. It's a masterpiece. Not enough people have talked about this episode. In contrast to the Winter King, not enough people are talking about this episode. From the love story with Simon and Betty, this is where we learn of their power imbalance and just their whole relationship and how it weaves through the episode, through the plot. Just the whole relationship stuff is so good. Simon and Betty are the best ship in this entire series, and the interactions between Fionna and Simon, because they seem so much more like a daughter-father relationship from this point onward, which I feed on. They have such a good relationship from this episode onward that I don't think they really had in the previous episodes. Bemo's death hurt me. Goddamn. But Bemo being the character in this, I think was a great choice, because he is such a happy-go-lucky character. He is friends with everyone. In this episode, he refers to everyone as a friend, and I like his contrast between his happy-go-lucky attitude and this entire world. I will say the setting isn't as strong as the Star or the Winter King or Destiny. It doesn't have the same pop that it does. I like the world. I just don't think it has I think that's just the nature of it, of being all dead. Speaking of that, the Lich, fantastic. I know, I talked about earlier how people don't like how he was, but I liked him in this episode, and how it's such a distinction from what we know, but I think it's still in line with this character. And I don't think we've ever seen this side because he's never gotten to this point. And I think it also links with the original series. This episode is just fantastic. It is perfect. I love it. Well, besides the setting, but all the important stuff is fantastic. Perfect. I don't think I can say anything more than that. But yeah, oh my god, this episode. Jerry, I love it. I love it so much. That being said, I think I went through all of them. If you have anything you want to say, angry, leave them in the comments. It gives me more interactions. Yay!